Good morning. This is View from the Pew. It is Friday morning, August 14th, 2020, and we're continuing to look at the commands of Christ. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for us as Christians to know and teach these commands. It is a staple. It is a non-elective. It is an essential in the Great Commission. And I know that to some degree, hearing these commands over and over for some of you may not be as entertaining as some other controversial subjects, and I'm not mentioning that for any particular reason. I just feel prompted to today, but I want to remind you that real faith is built off the routine. It's built off feeding on God's word daily and obeying it daily with no pomp or fanfare, but simply being faithful. So I challenge you with regard to the commands of Christ. Embrace the routine of obedience to Christ in your life and sharing that with others. You'll be glad you did. So here's what I'm seeing as I'm looking at the command today, and I guess I would call it, avoid that which defiles you. Avoid that which defiles you. Jesus has already told them in Matthew 15:10, he said, "Hear and understand, not what goes into the mouth defiles a man, but what comes out of the mouth, this defiles a man." And the word defile there, it's in the present tense, which means it consistently does it. It's the idea of taking away the holy, taking away that which makes man holy. Is not what you put in, it's what comes out. And then Peter asks for an explanation, and I'm glad he does. Over in verse 15, he says this, "Lord, explain this parable to us." Jesus says, "Are you still without understanding? Do you not yet understand that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach as is eliminated?" And he's right. "But those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and they defile a man. For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile a man." And that's the specific area Jesus is dealing with, is that the Pharisees had these very strict rules about how you had to wash, and it was part of being ceremonially clean and unclean, whether you washed or not. And they were just not as concerned about that. And I know we live in the age of hand washing. Everybody's supposed to wash their hands, but I'm here to tell you, it's not the washing of your hands or the not washing that defiles you, that makes you unholy, that makes you unclean. It's the condition of your heart. And we've got to remember that as Christians. That's very tempting to base holiness on things we put in us. But holiness is based on what comes out of us. So we ought to seek in our lives to be holy, which means our heart has to be holy. Because if our heart is not holy, it doesn't matter what your diet is. It doesn't matter what you drink. It doesn't matter whether you wash your hands. All these outward things don't matter if your heart is not holy. So Jesus commanded us, if I'm walking with him and you're walking with him and we're walking with him, and I'm listening to what he's saying, what I'm hearing him say is this: you make sure your heart is right. What comes out of the heart is what defiles you. Because if your heart is holy, if you're seeking to live a holy life by having a heart in the right place, then what comes out of your life will be holy. You're not going to be guilty of these other things that Jesus mentions, and he says, out of the heart. By the way, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, just like a pitcher. When it gets full, what comes out of the spout is what you've got inside of the pitcher. So just be aware of that. Hear and understand what Jesus said. It's not the washing of hands. It's not necessarily what you eat. We understand there are consequences to that. But it's the condition of the heart that makes a man holy or takes away his holiness. So I ask you today, what's the condition of your heart? Does the condition of your heart defile your life? If it does, may God help you to change it today. And may God help me as well. May we serve him with a pure heart. and a sincere heart. I pray God gives you a great Friday, and let's seek to follow him in all that we do. And God bless.